Good morning, everyone. This is Chad Smith with The Real Solution with Infinite Agent and Modern Agent Lead Generation. This is going to be a meeting today about how to set an appointment if you're a real estate agent with motivated and qualified sellers and buyers, and how to do it every single time in a way that you don't sound like you're scripted. You don't sound like you're some slick salesperson. We didn't have this tool, but we developed the skill to become the most highly skilled agents, the top producing agents in our local market. We have dominated this market for over a decade. And over the last several years, we've reverse engineered what we actually have done and what we figured out in order to win in our market. So we did the math the other day. Our team has sold over 1,100 homes since COVID. So this is not theory. This is exactly what we do on a daily basis to win. And we teach our network of agents at The Real Solution and at Modern Agent and Infinite Agent. And what we do is we show people how to have a conversation that is respectful to our clients. And we make the conversation about the other person. So we use a tool that we've developed called the Conversation Matrix. And this is a worksheet that we use. We have hundreds and hundreds of recorded role plays of our organization working on this. As I've been saying in these live streams, this community of real estate professionals meets 5 days a week, and we have done this over 2,500 times. So this is the Conversation Matrix, and let me show you what this looks like. So what we did is we broke down the components of the conversation you would have with a seller or a buyer. We broke that down into almost like ingredients. And you don't necessarily follow this every single time the exact same way. So this is not a script in the sense that you're just reading words off a page. Each one of these boxes in acronyms, each one of these letters represents an ingredient that you could use based on what the seller or buyer is telling you. So let me walk you through this. So the very first thing on here says I. So the I is the introduction. If you're talking to someone, whether it's from your sphere of influence as a referral for the very first time, or whether it's a cold call and you're talking to a for sale by owner or an internet lead or an expired listing, you've got 5 seconds. You've got a blink to make a connection. And if you don't handle those first 5 to 10, 15 seconds correctly, you're going to lose them and they're going to hang up on you. So the introduction is about getting enough of their attention that they think there's a reason to talk to you. So one of the ways that I've done that over the years is the first word out of my mouth is yes. Because ultimately, if they're motivated and qualified, I'm looking for a yes. So if I'm talking to someone, I'll just say, yes, this is Chad Smith with eXp Realty. Is this the owner of 123 Main Street? And what I'm looking for in the I, what I'm looking for is the first words out of their mouth. I can identify their behavioral profile based on the first words out of their mouth. And the way that I do that moves to the B, which is behavior. We talk about DISC here at The Real Solution all the time. And so what DISC is it's a way of categorizing people's behavioral profiles into 4 categories. Now, most people have combinations of all these, but they typically lead with one of the 4 behavioral profiles. So let me give you a brief overview. We've got courses and classes on this. We teach this all the time. But if you break down behavior, you can break it into kind of 4 main categories. We're not talking about morality. We're not talking about good or bad right now. We're talking about the way that people process information, right? So a D, a driver in the DISC profile, there's someone that drives for a result. They're very interested in the bottom line and they don't want all the fluff. And a driver is always saying things like, what's the bottom line? Cut to the chase. Okay. The I, the next of the four is called the I. The I is the influential, the influence person. They're very flamboyant and outgoing, and they're very people oriented. They're the life of the party. Okay. The next is the S. The third category is the S. S's are very safety and security oriented. They don't want to change. They want to process all the information before they make a step forward. And a side note, 2/3 of all the people you talk to lead with their S. So that's a very good default to start the conversation with. Most people want to process all the information before they move forward. Okay, and then the fourth category is called the C. The C stands for compliant. They're very analytical, they're detail oriented. They want all the facts and the information, and they want to see how something works. And they will not move forward unless you can explain how. So, what do I mean by I know out of the first words out of their mouth which one of their four behavioral profiles they're inclined to lead with? Well, each one of the four behavioral profiles leads with a question. Okay? So the D asks what? What do you want? What's the bottom line? What's this all about? Okay? So if I say, yes, my name's Chad Smith with eXp Realty, how are you today? And they say, what do you want? I know I'm talking to a D. All right? The I's say, who? Who is this? They're very people oriented. So if I hear a who question, I know I'm talking to an I. 2/3 of the population are S's, and they ask the question, why? Why are you calling me? Why is this happening to me? Why should I listen to you? So they ask why questions. And then the C's ask how. So I've heard other real estate coaches say you should never ask how are you because you don't really care. And they pick up on that. Well, that may be true if you don't actually care. But one of the main things that you'll pick up from the way that we operate here at The Real Solution is that we care about everybody. People, every real estate lead there's a human being on the other side of it. And human beings are wonderful people, and they're created in the image of God in our perspective. So they deserve our uncommon honor. So if I ask someone, how are you? I actually care how they're doing. So I always ask the question, how are you? Because I actually care what they say. And when I ask, how are you? I'm probably going to get some sort of a question back. Or I'm fine, how are you? Or who is this? Or what do you want? Or why are you calling? Or how did you get my number? Which would be a C. All right, so that covers the I, and that covers the B. Next, we move into motivation. So M3, why is it called M3? Well, a lot of realtors will just say, well, why'd you think about selling your home? And they may give you a surface level answer, but that's not really the answer. And so the reason we say M3 is you want to go 3 levels deep into their motivation. And so that would sound something like this. Let's say they were a first sale by owner, or they were an expired listing. And I say, what made you put your home on the market in the first place? And they say, oh, well, we wanted to sell and then move up. Okay. All right. So the second level, deeper than that would be, okay, well, what would that do for you if you had sold and then got to move up to that other house? And then they're going to give you a little bit more information. Maybe it eliminates a commute. Maybe they need an extra bedroom. Maybe they need more space because they're going to move one of their parents in with them, right? And then what you do with M3, which really solidifies that you're a good listener, is you say, all right, and you future cast that. So you take them to that future destination, that future result. And you say, now, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, let's just say that you were able to sell this home and you were able to get into a bigger home, and then it solved the dilemma of space, or you were able to move that family member in, or the children were able to get a bedroom for each one of them, or whatever that situation was. What would that ultimately mean for you and your family if you were able to accomplish that? And you take them there. And once you get through M3 and you haven't skipped the steps, and you've taken the time to ask those questions and you take them there, now you know whether or not you're talking to someone that actually needs your help, right? So this is what This is how you become the agent that dominates your market. Is you find out through modern lead generation how to have enough conversations on a daily basis to actually talk to enough people until you find someone that once you go through M1, M2, and M3, they have a deep motivation and they actually need your help. Okay? So that's what I'm looking for every single day. And there are plenty of people that someday in the future will need my help. But every day I show up to work, I'm looking for someone that actually needs my help today. All right? So that's M3. Now, if you just did those three things, you would be ahead of 99% of all realtors. Now let's keep going because this is where it just keeps getting better and better and better. All right. So there are plenty of people that are motivated, but they may not be qualified. It doesn't mean they're bad. It just means that they can't do what they say they want to do today. So now it's my job to ask some qualifying questions to make sure that I'm working and spending my time today with someone who is motivated and they have the ability to do what they say they want to do. So from there, I'm going to ask some questions if they're selling about how long have they owned their home? How much equity do they have? What do they think or hope that their home is worth? How much money were they thinking about rolling from this home into the next home? I've got to make sure that they didn't refinance all their equity out of the home or that they're not several months behind on their mortgage. I've got to make sure all those things. And then if they're buying, I've got to see where they are in that whole process. Do they have a job? Do they have any money? Do they have the ability to do what they say they want to do? So that's what Qualify is all about. Now, those first four blocks, I, B, M3, and Q, that's really about you figuring out about them. The rest of the call is about you demonstrating that you've listened to what they've said, and now you're going to basically apply solutions to their unique situation. And so V stands for your value proposition and your track record. So your value proposition, you can have several different layers of your value proposition, and you're going to just simply share the ones that would mean the most to this particular person based on their situation, right? So let's say I'm talking to an expired listing. I can say, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I want you to know that our team has actually helped 153 different sellers who are in your exact situation, analyze what didn't happen on their first listing, and then put a better plan in place, and then actually help them get their home sold. So we've done that 153 times. And I would love the opportunity to sit down with you and analyze this, show you exactly what needs to happen that didn't happen last time, give you all the facts and the information that you need to make a sound business decision. And then if it makes sense for you to sell now, great. And if not, that's okay too. That would be an example of a value proposition, right? If they were buying, we could explain, we've actually helped 260 home buyers buy new construction. Let's say they were interested in new construction. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, we are aware of all the builders, and we keep track on a weekly basis of what incentives they're offering, interest rate incentives, closing cost assistance, extra add-ons that they're putting into their houses. And we keep a track on all of this, our finger on the pulse of that, so that we could help our buyers find the best deals for them. And we've actually helped over 260 buyers just since about 2019 find the best new construction properties so that they could take advantage of lower interest rates and all the incentives. So those are some examples of what we would do with value proposition. And then these next two pieces, SC and S, this is really important because at no point do you ever want to come across as a salesperson. As a realtor, as a real estate agent, your function is a fiduciary, right? This is my favorite part of the real estate agent business, is that your job is to put your client's interest ahead of your own interest. And one of the things we teach here quite often is for brand new agents, quite often they don't have a lot of startup capital, and they really, if you really looked at it, they really need a sale. But if you're going to build an amazing real estate agent business, the first thing that you're going to have to do is start putting your client's best interest ahead of your own, even before you can afford to. And so what we want to do on these calls is we want to demonstrate right up front that we're always going to put their interest ahead of our own. And so on our call in the conversation matrix, we'll actually say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I want you to know that I am a consultant. I'm not a salesperson. And we're in business to build long-lasting, mutually beneficial relationships. And so my job is just to give you all the facts and all the information that you need to make a sound business decision. And I just want to meet you. I want to get to know you. I want to show you how I would solve the problem for you as if you were my family member. And then if it makes sense to do something today, or whether it's 6 months, a year from now, 3 or 5 years from now, it doesn't matter. I'll be here for you whenever the time is right. That's how you explain, I'm not a salesperson, I'm a consultant, and I'm separated from the outcome. From there, sometimes they have objections. Quite often they have objections. We deal with objections and objection handlers almost every day of the week here at The Real Solution. As I've been saying, we do this meeting 5 days a week, every week of the year, and we've done this meeting for the Chad Smith team and now for our Real Solution community. We've done this meeting over 2,500 times. And so we work on ourselves and on our business before we go to work in our jobs and in our business every single day. And so, for example, yesterday morning, we just did an entire Q&A on objection handlers. Several of the newer agents had sellers and buyers that said, well, you know, you're my friend, but I've got several friends who are realtors and I don't want to hurt your feelings. And so we talked about how to deal with that. And we had someone else who a family member even didn't want to use their brand new agent that's in our community for their agent. We talked about how to overcome those objections. So what we want to do is isolate the objection, overcome the objection, and then move forward to set an appointment. So this is our conversation matrix. If we have hundreds of these calls recorded and we use a digital whiteboard to record these, it's almost like game tape that like a football team would go through on Monday after the Sunday game. And if you would like access to those, if you'd like a copy of this PDF to use whenever you're on calls, if you'd like to use this as a tool in your business, just message me on whatever platform you're watching this video on. This, as I said, is not a theory. We have set thousands and thousands of appointments, and we've actually sold thousands of homes using this exact tool in the exact same way that I just walked you through. And when we developed it, we didn't even have the tool. We reverse engineered this so that we could help agents master this skill in a fraction of the time compared to what it took us to figure this out over the course of years. So if you're interested in working with agents that actually do this, it's not something we did 15, 20 years ago. We are not the type of realtors that are selling agents a bunch of stuff that used to work. I was on the phone using this tool yesterday with an expired listing, and the call went phenomenal. We recorded it. If you're interested in being surrounded by winners who are crushing it in this market, reach out to us and we'd be happy to get into business with you and help you crush it as well. So with that, I'll let you run. I'm going to jump over here onto our Zoom, our Real Solution community, and the Chad Smith team. We're all going to get together for the next 15, 20 minutes, game plan today, win today. If you are, it doesn't matter what broker you're at. If you're interested in being part of a winning community, reach out to us. You can be part of the Zoom meetings as well. And we will see you guys tomorrow morning.